All right. Thank you so much. Um, so today I'll be discussing on user-centered product development, building what matters. And this would be sort of a guide for not just product managers like myself or project managers, but to be a guide for all tech professionals. Um, so we'll be talking about what user-centered product development is, and I would also be explaining why it's essential for tech professionals. We're also going to be covering what user research is, what personas are, what journey mapping is, and what feature prioritization means. And within this short period, I'll be able to cover, I hope I'll be able to cover all this and communicate it as effectively as possible. So, what is user-centered product development? This is a process where product decisions are guided by user needs and behaviors. Meaning that before you start building products, before you start curating solutions, you first have to consider the fact that who are the users that would use this particular platform, or who are the users that will use this particular solution. And the whole idea is putting them first and then using the perspective of um, being user centered to develop a product, right? So it ensures that products solve actual real life problems and it enhances user experience. Um, so the question is, why is it essential for tech professionals? Why is it essential for you listening to listening to me? Why is it important for UI UX designers or graphics designers or developers? I mean, why? The reason why user-centered product development is essential majorly is because it helps create meaningful products that users love. Now, as techies, I feel like our overall motivation is to create a solution that people would use and people would derive joy in using. No one wants to just create a product and then it lies dormant. So the reason why this is essential is to create meaningful products, useful products that users love. Also, as a team, it also reduces wasted efforts and it enhances collaboration across teams development team right now. And like I said, the key topics that will be covered will be user research, personas, journey mapping, and last but not the least, feature prioritization. So now, first question, what is user research? And what is the importance of user research? But this is what I'll do. I'll first kind of break down what user research is. User research in a layman language is making or searching out information about a particular audience or a particular set of users or user demographics you are creating solutions for, right? And until that happens, you do not know who you are creating solutions for. So let's say you're probably creating a solution for students. Until you do a user research on students, right, and know their pain points, you won't be able to create adequate solutions for them that will suit their pain points or that will solve their pain points. So basically, user research in a way sort of helps understand the user behaviors, the needs, and the pain points of that particular user. So for every product manager, every project manager, this is one particular skill that you always see them harness or always see them have or develop or use constantly. Because without having an idea of who their users are, they can't create products or they can't create or work on projects that are actually usable, right? So basically, that is what user research is. Why conduct user research? Why is this necessary? Number one, it reduces risk of product failure by validating ideas early. So if you do not make your user research, you might have an idea, but if there are certain things that are not put in place, it leads to product failure. If I do not know the pain points that these users actually face, and I go and work on something that I feel like would help them, it will definitely lead to product failure. So one of the major reasons why we conduct user research is the fact that it helps reduce risk of product failure by validating ideas early. Two is that, like I said, it helps us understand user behaviors, needs, and pain points. The third reason is that it guides product design and also feature prioritization. Now, I'll get into all of the nitty-gritties of feature prioritization later in this presentation, but until you understand your user behaviors, needs, and pain points, you won't be able to draft out a good roadmap, right? And create a guide for product design for those who are designers amongst us, and also to prioritize features for the users. So user research ultimately is sort of a foundation, right? That builds sort of a foundation of of a project or a product. Now, the second thing is business benefits. What are the business benefits of um, having a good user research or conducting a good user research? Now, out of the three, I will break down three different benefits. The first one is higher customer satisfaction and retention. Now, once, excuse me, now if you have a good user research, you you'll be able to create products that customers love, and that would lead to higher customer satisfaction and ultimately loyalty and also retention. The second would be improved conversion rate and revenue. So the more customer satisfaction you get, the more loyalty you get, the more word of mouth you get. Um, Customers start advertising for you because you're actually solving their needs and their pain points. It improves the revenue, also improves the conversion rate. Last but not the least, stronger brand loyalty. Definitely leads to brand loyalty because you are solving their needs, right? Especially customers. They are selfish. They put themselves first. So if you are constantly putting them first and making sure that you are drafting or you're creating solutions that will sort out their problems first, they are quite loyal to that. So now, what are the methods of conducting user research? I mean, we've spoken about what user research is, the importance of user research, why conduct user research, the business benefits of having a good or conducting a good user research. It's talking about the methods of conducting user research. Now, amidst a plethora ways of conducting user research, I picked out the top 5 methods that you would see being used in multiple industries, in the tech industry, and whatever industry that deals with um, relating with customers, with audiences, with users. These are the Hello?
Hello.
Hello, can anyone hear me?
Yes, you can.
All right. Apologies for that. My network has been kind of shaky. I'm gonna try sharing my screen again. All right. So I think this was where we stopped. Am I right?
Yes, you are.
Hello. All right.
Hello, we can hear you. Yeah, I said
So
this one stopped.
all right. Thank you. Okay. Conducting user research, I was able to pick out like the top 5 methods, and the first one amongst them is surveys and questionnaires. The second is user interviews. The third is focus groups. The fourth is analytics and behavioral data. And the fifth is A/B testing and usability studies. So now the first one, surveys and questionnaires, I feel like we're all familiar with it. Um, we might have come across different surveys, different forms that were sent to us to fill, or we actually creating forms for users to fill. But this is a quick way that we product managers use to collect large scale user opinions. So if we know that, okay, yes, we have our platform used in different locations where we can't be physical, what we tend to do is create surveys or create questionnaires using Google Forms or Typeform, and then we send it out. And the whole idea of sending out these surveys is to collect large scale user opinions or user feedbacks. So that's for surveys and questionnaire. And the second one um, would be user interview. I call them one-on-one interviews, but basically the idea is you're having an in-depth understanding of your user needs by having this one-on-one conversation, or as the word denotes, interview, where you have your user, you're speaking with them directly, and you're asking them, okay, what pain point are you feeling? You're posing certain questions to them with the aim of having an in-depth understanding of what the user actually needs. Now, the third would be focus groups. And focus groups mainly is having your group of users in a room, and you're sort of having a group discussion, right? Probably a question is thrown out there and then everyone is chipping in. But the people who are chipping in are your users, and they are grouped to number of 6, 7, 10, whatever way you want to plan it, or whatever method you want to, way you want to do it. But basically, it's about the group having a discussion, identifying or talking about their pain points. And then all you just have to do is sit, right? Listen to them, throw clarifying questions, and get the things that you need to get, identify their pain points. The fourth one would be analytics and behavioral data. And this mostly gravitates towards the developers, right? The web developers, the app developers, and majorly they use these tools, Crazy Egg, Google Analytics, Mixpanel, and they use these tools to track users' interaction with a product, either with a website like Mixpanel or Google Analytics, to track user interactions with the products. What products do they spend their time on? What product did they like? What product did they add to cart? What products did they spend their time looking at the description? So these tools extract this information, and then we are the ones to convert this information insights. Now, the fifth one, last but not the least, is what we call A/B testing and usability studies. So, okay, how we describe A/B testing is you creating two variations of a particular thing. So, for instance, this is my hand, and they're creating two variations of it. One might look a different way, while the other might look a different way. And what you're doing is you're putting this out to them first, get their information or get their view about it, and then you're putting this one to get their view about it. And whichever one comes out with a better outcome is what you choose. A/B testing. So is two variations of a particular thing, a particular content, something, and then whichever one comes out with the best outcome or the best result is what you choose. So that's the whole idea of A/B testing and usability studies. So I think we've been able to cover methods of conducting user research, these 5 chains. So once you conduct user research, you would want to gather and analyze these feedbacks you are getting. And the question is, where do you collect these feedbacks from? How do you collect these feedbacks? How do you analyze it? So the first one, where to collect feedbacks. There are 4 major ways. Now, I'm not saying this is cast in stones. There are also different methods or locations of how you can collect feedbacks. But to my own best understanding, these are like the top 4 way how types of collecting feedbacks. So the first one is customer support interactions. So while your platform either offers customer support, anytime of note it down, right? How you interact with your customers to do your customer support is one way or one means whereby you can all agree with me on that is social media comments. Now, products that are actually doing well, you see it on their social media pages. You see users commenting about how good the product is, how they love to use it, this and that. And if it is actually bad, they're also going to drag you on social media. So social media on its own and also the comments is also a way of collecting feedback. Now the third one would be the App Store reviews. On Play Store, on App Store, reviews are given out by customers or by users of a particular product and or an application. And most of us, I do this most of the time, check the reviews of users that have used the application before me to know if I should download the app or not. So collecting feedbacks, even as a techie, as a product manager, last would be online forums and communities. We have different forums, we have different communities, we have Quora, we have Reddit. Randomly talk about products that they've used, how good it is, how fun it is, especially in the gaming world, Discord, Telegram. People just communicate their thoughts personally about a particular product. So yours is to find the online forum or community where they're talking about your product and try to extract or collect feedback from there. Now, once you collect feedback, what do you do with it? I mean, we want to make sure that our product is usable, user-friendly, and users are enjoying it. So next question is, how do you analyze feedback? Um, First and foremost, you categorize these issues into usability, functionality, and user experience. So this particular issue they are facing, is it about the usability of the platform? Are they finding it difficult to use? Right. Second would be the functionality. What is the function like? Is this functionality easy? Is there other means we can find to, is there other ways we can fine tune this functionality and then improving the UX, user experience? So the second will be identifying recurring themes to prioritize fixes. So once you get your feedback, the question is, what are the problems that are recurring? So if these guys are saying they're having issues with logging in, and out of 1,000 feedbacks, you're getting like 500 feedbacks saying they find it difficult to log in, you should know that, okay, yes, that should be top on the list. So it helps you identify the recurring feedbacks, and then it helps you kind of prioritize the fixes to make. Now, the third one will be use sentiment analysis to gauge overall user satisfaction, basically. Um, so the whole idea is, when you collect this feedback, you kind of make an analysis using this feedback and gauge the overall user satisfaction of these people giving us feedbacks, right? So we have been able to cover what user research is, the importance of user research, methods of conducting user research, how, where to collect feedbacks from, how to analyze feedback. And the next thing we'll be doing is creating user personas. And ultimately, that takes us to user-centered product development, building what matters. You can't build what matters if you haven't gone through the process of understanding what user-centered product development is, understanding how to um, take on user research, understanding what personas are, what journey mapping is, and what feature prioritization is. So we've been able to speak about user research. We've also been able to talk about what user-centered product development is. The next is what user persona is all about, or what creating user personas or personas entails. So, what is a user persona? A user persona is a fictional representation of an ideal user based on research. So, once you conduct your user research, you kind of have this fictional character. Let's call this person a character. And um, this character represents the ideal user based upon the research made on the based upon the user research made. So I created like an example of a user persona on this last page, on this last particular heading. So I'll break it down once we get there. Now, why are user personas important? It helps the team design with a specific user in mind. So if either you're creating a solution for techies, a solution for professionals, a solution for students, a solution for lecturers or teachers or whatever demographic it might be, creating a user persona helps the team, not just one person, but the team design with a specific user in mind. So the way you are going to design for a student is different from how you design for a lecturer. It's different from how you design for a techie. this fictional character. And I'm using character so we can best understand that it's not a must this person, it's not a must this person should have like a head, an eye, or eyes, or ears, or anything. You can just use a character, avatar character, SpongeBob character, whatever it might be, and sort of depict that fictional representation with certain components. Now, why persona is important? The second reason is that it improves alignment between developers, designers, and product managers. Now, if everybody knows the specific user they are trying to design for or they're trying to create a solution for, there's an improved alignment between developers, between designers, and between product managers. Developers know that they're developing for students. So they know the best routes to take in developing for students. Designers who are designing know that, yes, I'm designing for this particular user base or user persona. So this is how we design for this user persona. And product managers know that, yes, they're trying to manage products to create solutions for this particular persona. And they know the steps to take in curating solutions for this particular persona. So once everybody on the team knows the specific user they are working for, it improves alignment. Now, third, component of a persona, right? I'm not saying everyone should have and should be adept at creating user personas, but basically this is an overview of creating a user persona. Now, a user persona should have demographics, meaning it should contain the age, the location, the job role, and the tech proficiency or the tech proficiency. You might or you might leave that out there. Should also contain the pain points of these particular users based on your research, and also the goal that this solution is trying to bring in solving the pain points. So if they are using your solution, or what goal does this achieve? And last but not the least, behavioral patterns and preferences of this particular persona. So yeah, it feels like I've been saying a whole lot of personas and components and everything, and I've decided to create an example. Now, example of a persona, right? Name, which is part of demographics. Victoria, age 23, right? Job, software developer. Job role, software developer. Now, what are the pain points? It could be that the pain point for Victoria is that she finds it hard to track project progress in a cluttered UI. So she doesn't know how to she finds it difficult in tracking project progress when the UI is kind of scattered and everything. Now, what is the goal? She wants a streamlined dashboard to manage her tasks as a software developer efficiently. So this is sort of like a minimalized form of user persona that I've kind of broken down into 3 different segments: the demographic, the pain point, and the goal. So that's for creating user personas. Now we are now moving into what user journey is. Now, mind you, we are still talking about user-centered product development and building what matters. And we've been able to talk about what user-centered product development is, why it's essential for tech professionals. We've covered user research, we've covered creating personas, and now we are down to journey mapping, right? So what is a user journey map? A user journey map is a visual representation of how the users interact with the product from start to finish. And basically, if a user wants to use Jumia, it talks about how or the different points where they could access Jumia from, for example. So they could use the app, they could use the website. Those are two different start points. And probably their finish might want to be them finally ordering a product. So user journey map contains the visual representations of the step-by-step process of how users interact with a product from start to finish. All right. Now, identifying pain points. Now, since we are talking about user-centered product development, um, the idea of using journey maps is identifying pain points, right? And at the same time, trying to improve the seamless steps of users using a particular product or users interacting with your product or with your platform or your application. So now identifying pain points. Um, Using journey map, I think it helps. I believe it helps look for moments where users struggle while interacting with your product. So if you look at analytics and you find out that yes, users take a look at certain things on your website, but they do not order. The question is why? Is there something stopping them from doing that? So that is where you make sort of like an analysis and then you draft like a user journey map and you find out the issue. So user journey map helps identify pain points, right? Creates awareness, consideration of how users use this application and all of that. Two is analyze using journey map, analyze drop-off points in onboarding and engagement. So while users are using your application, in the user journey map, at what point do you see that users might drop off, either in onboarding or in engagement? Probably something taking their mind off the application, or probably just a discrepancy in the user journey map. The third one is optimize processes to reduce friction. So user journey maps help create a user-centered product, right? And once you're able to draft out your user journey map, it helps you identify certain pain points, and these are for already established applications. The knowledge you get from this, you can use it to improve on your product, you can use it to create for those who have ideas and are still like walking it through. Can also use user journey map to create user um, visual representation of user interaction and sort of cut out any form of drop-off point, any sort of pain point while people are using their product. So at the end, after getting all these pain points, you kind of optimize the process to reduce friction. So user journey map just helps at the end of the day reduce the friction that users face while using your product, improving user-centeredness. So the key touch points, I think, I'll just go to the example. Now, these are a small example of a user journey map. Now, a new user signs up, right? The next thing is they struggle with navigation, right? They find help through the FAQs created, and then they successfully complete a task that they want to complete. So it doesn't come as easy as this, but this is just an example. Last but not the least, features prioritization, and basically it's talking about how to prioritize feature to deliver value. Now, why do you prioritize features? Why is this necessary? Number one, it avoids feature bloat and unnecessary complexity, right? Meaning that you're putting the right features to solve the right problems. You're not putting unnecessary designs, unnecessary functionality. You're putting just what is needed. Two, it ensures that development resources focused on the most impactful updates, meaning that for every pain point, there are certain amount of resources that needs to be channeled into it. So once you're able to prioritize a feature, it ensures that those resources are focused on making the most impactful updates towards the pain points or towards the prioritized feature. Now, what are the frameworks for feature prioritization? You have the Moscow method, where you have must have, should have, could have, and won't have. So these are different categories. What are the features that must be in this update? Or what are the features that must be in this application? What are the things that we should have? What are the things that we could have? And what are the things that we are not going to have at all? The second will be right scoring, which is reach, impact, confidence, and effort. These are also broken into different categories, and then you sort of place all those features in each category. Now, last but not the least, will be the Kano model, and it categorizes features into your basic needs, your performance needs, and your excitement needs. The last one will be balancing user needs and business goals. So for every business, we always want to make profits, we always want to make gain, we want to grow. But at the same time, most times we find it difficult to balance user needs and business goals. So there are two major ways of doing that, where you identify features of the users that align with the company's vision and you work on it. And two is that you consider the technical feasibility of this feature you're working on and the costs that would the cost that would entail in making such feature out. So yes, I created a small case study or real world example that would sort of solidify the whole idea of user-centeredness. So an example, using Spotify as a case study, and because Spotify's user-centered approach. Now, there's a problem they faced where users struggle with discovering new music or discovering new podcasts. And a solution that was created was when they introduced Discover Weekly Playlist. And this was powered by AI. And basically, the AI takes the user listening habits and sort of curates a Discover Weekly playlist that the user might like. And what was the result of this solution? They noticed that their user engagement increased and their user retention on the application also increased. Now, what are the key takeaways from successful companies? Basically, they focus on real user problems, they iterate or they improve based off on the feedback and the data gotten from the users, which we've already broken down on how to do that. And the third one is they maintain a balance between usability and innovation. So yes, we're out of time, but thank you for listening. And please, if you do have any questions, you can ask right away.
Yes, thank you so much, Ade. That was very, very explicit. Thank you, everyone, for joining. We have a productive day.